Welcome to Red Tiger Chronicles. This is Sifu Paul Mason, owner of Red Tiger Martial Arts in Cincinnati, Ohio, and this podcast is to help some of the most extraordinary martial artists that walk among us tell us their stories. All right, today we're sitting down with Master John Lambert, my Sifu, and the inaugural recording of Red Tiger Chronicles. And it's fitting because he has changed my life for the better when I started my martial arts journey. He is my primary martial arts instructor, lives and teaches in Cincinnati, Ohio. And just a little rundown of his biography. He started in 1956 as a student of Sensei Eugene Fields in the art of judo. He also trained under Grandmaster Kyungwon An and then Master William Scott Sr. in the art of Taekwondo. In 2001, he started training with Master Benny Ming, who currently heads the Shaolin Wing Chun organization in Dayton, Ohio. He fought at the Battle of Columbus at age 65, and he is the founder of Ming's Martial Arts of Cincinnati, Ohio, which opened in 2007. He may correct me if I'm wrong later. He's a certified instructor in Hung Fai Yi Wing Chun, a certified instructor from the Wing Chun Museum, or Wing Chun Museum in Shaolin Wing Chun. He is a certified instructor in Black Sash Suhu and Hokkien Wing Chun Pai, a very old form of Wing Chun from the Shaolin Temple. He is a certified instructor in the Shaolin Wing Chun's 7 Skills Universe Sanda skill set, given to him at the Shaolin Wing Chun headquarters in Dayton, Ohio. He is a certified instructor in the Chi Sao skill set, the Bat Jam Dao skill set, and he's a certified 6th degree Red Sash master in the art of Shaolin Wing Chun. In 2019, he was inducted into the Wing Chun Museum Hall of Fame. He has published several books on business and a book of poetry. He is also a retired accountant from GE Aircraft. He has worked as a youth mentor, and he has been married for 40-something years to the very 45 years to the very loving and patient Janice Lambert. He's a father to 4 children, grandfather and great-grandfather to numerous children. So did I miss anything?
No. That in fact makes me wonder who you're talking about.
All right. Go ahead and tell us how you got started in martial arts, sir.
Okay, one day I was living in an apartment building. I came out and met my neighbor who lived across the street, and he and I got to discussing different things. Over a period of time, we had a relationship, and so he told me that he had spent time in Japan. And I said, well, that was interesting. Then he started to explain to me about the culture and the different things he experienced there. And it really piqued my interest. And because I've always liked different types of things, especially since at the time I had never been out of the city limits. So I said, tell me more. He said, well, how would you like to learn judo? And I said, well, what is judo? And he started to explain it, and then he started to teach me. By the way, we actually got us a little following and got a spot down in the local community center where we would train. And so there's where we started really building. We had a few people in our club by that time. And downstairs there were a bunch of guys that did weightlifting and all that, bodybuilding. And so one day they decided to come up and visit us, and they told us that judo stuff wouldn't work. So after about 15 minutes, they went back downstairs knowing that judo was a very viable art form. So that was the beginning of my martial arts, and that happened in 1956.
Wow, that's awesome. So I want to get into it. I want to let the audience kind of get to know the man that is my Sifu. So I'll just start in. The Declaration of Independence states that all men are created equal and that they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Can you describe one or two of your earliest memories of learning that society did not actually adhere to that principle?
Sure. Let's see. 5 years old. My mother and I were downtown Cincinnati getting up on the bus. And we had this little routine where I would go up and get on the bus and get us a seat while she paid the fare. As I went past the people to get on, a man thought that I was by myself. So he grabbed me by the nape of the neck and snatched me off the bus and deposited me back upon the sidewalk. Upon which time my mom stepped up and just whooped the fire right out of him with a cigarette. And that was the first time I had experienced that there were limits imposed upon my being.
5 years old.
5 years old.
So how did you end up asking your mom why that happened, or did she have to have a difficult conversation with you?
No, the way my mother raised me was expect these type of things. Even that early, I'd always been insulated. She always felt that as a black person that I had to be insulated. Don't take things for granted. She told me early on that life for me was going to be different. I'd always have to be the best, and I was not going to be given chances. So I had to make the most of every opportunity in my life, and that's from 5 years old. You guys ever go to Frisch's?
So,
Yes, sir.
Well, when I was a senior in 1955, and after a football game, I couldn't go in Frisch's and eat. Okay? David Frisch. He founded Frisch's, and the law of the land was segregation. This is constant. All of these are things that helped me to understand how to deal with life. There are companies. I worked for a General Electric company for about 27 years, 15 days, and 45 minutes. The reason I got that job because GE had a major government contract and they were discriminating their hiring practices. And the government told them that if you don't start balancing that out a little bit, we're going to snatch those government contracts. And that was what opened the door for me and a lot of people to go to work for General Electric, as well as all the other major companies in the country. All these little subtle things. For years, I had a real estate license. We could not sell real estate in Hyde Park or a lot of other places. We could not belong to the realtor organization back then. We had our own organization. And they talk about colleges, the traditional black colleges, historically black colleges. Those colleges were started because, contrary to popular belief, black people are very strong about education. I've got 4 sons. They all have degrees. Okay? They all have degrees. Why? Because they were told, you can't make it without education. So they thought it was necessary. So they all have degrees. Their children have degrees. I was the first person in my family to finish high school. And I figured it out. I got to change it. And this is what we talk about, the internal triangle. I decided that in my family, everybody would be getting education. And believe me, when I was in high school, I put the P in part. I had a good time. I didn't study. But afterwards, I realized, hey, if I don't clean this up, then I'll never be able to take care of my family. I'll never be able to survive.
So yeah, just to give everybody some context. So you've been around a while and seen some things.
I have seen some things.
All right. So what martial art concept, principle, or axiom do you now use most often in everyday living?
The first thing that my martial art taught me, and it didn't teach it to me like a one lesson. It's over a period of time. And I realized that the first thing you have to do is live in the realities. What it is what it is. Then you must learn how to, you must learn how to coexist with everything. For instance, I guess we can go to your internal triad. Everyone has an internal triad. That's how you think, feel, and act. You have complete control, but no one can make you do anything. They can coerce you to it. They can torture you, force you, but they haven't made you do it. So that's the first thing you must do. So self-identification, self-awareness, that's the most important thing that you can live by. As a martial artist, especially because by knowing martial arts skill sets, you're actually a danger to the community if you don't. You could become a bully. So you develop your strong identity. And this is one of the things I've emphasized in my classes, that who are you? Even now, when I get new students, what is your name? What does it mean? Who named you? Why? I want them to have self-identity first. The self-identity is like dropping a pebble into a bucket of water. The ripples just go out. Everybody looks for external stimuli in their life, and that's a flaw. That's a terrible flaw. Because you pick up everybody else's garbage. You have to find out who you are before you can do anything to help anyone else. On the parallel to that, or the other side of the coin to that, is the external triad, which is time, space, and energy. Time is position. Space is the area that whatever's going on happens in, and energy is a driving force. You cannot exist without being in harmony with time, space, and energy. Everything you do. I mean, there's nothing. You either have to sit, stand, or walk. You have to allow for other people. And it's a universal concept. You know, like COVID. When COVID came, it didn't say, well, I'm going to get tall people, short people, or nothing. COVID says, anybody I can put my hands on, I'm taking them down. That's a universal concept. Rain. You walk outside in the rain. You're going to get wet unless you get in harmony. How do you get in harmony with rain? You have on a coat or an umbrella. Everything, you must learn how to be in harmony with everything outside of your skin.
Yes, sir.
And I'll tell you another little gem I have. There's no substitute for intellect. The people, when they go into sports, tell them they have potential. Everybody has potential. You know, it's not just in athleticism, it's in your life. You guys have potential.
Sir.
So if you don't examine it, find out, identify it, and work on it, then it becomes a lifelong potential. If you want to do anything positive with your life, you have to apply. And so your intellect is actually the strongest survival tool that you have. And it starts off by first knowing yourself, self-identification. Know that I'm not dumb, or I'm not lazy, or my skin color or whatever comes from. It has nothing to do with my success. I'll find a way. And so this is what goes into the core of my martial arts teaching. This goes into the core of my mentorship to people. I've gotten a lot of kids in college, out of schools that are not supposed to get a kid to college. Now, some of them did well, some of them didn't, but that's life. I'll take that. But the idea is, in my lifetime, I know there are a lot of young men and women that I've pointed the finger for. And this is what I tell everybody, when you get into the martial arts, don't think about the fighting. The martial arts is living, it's life. It's a living, breathing entity. So much so that if you mess around, it'll reject you and you'll quit. You look around and people take martial arts. The ones that come to martial arts for fighting at 35, they won't even go to the gym. They take up bowling and what's that other thing? Pickleball. Yeah. That's what they do. Because they were there only for the fighting. Had they really understood, you can't quit. It quits you.
Sir.
And so by going for fighting all the time, you bastardized it. And by doing that, martial arts quit them. People who are really serious martial arts, they study, they read, and they keep having these epiphanies, aha moments. Because today I'll study something, I'll read something, and maybe I'll train something, and then I'll see something, and in some time in the future, those three things come together.
Yes, sir.
You have to look at the larger picture.
Yes,
It
sir.
goes back to your intellect. So that basically is the core of how I do things, how I live my life.
Yes, sir. You have been married for 45 years. Do martial arts concepts influence the way you relate or communicate with your spouse?
Yes. The first 40 years, I was ignorant of some things. Until I was on probation for 40 years. The last 5 years, I became more aware of myself in the relationship. Now, I'll tell you this, we never have had an argument. Not one. The reason we've never had an argument is because we have decided in the time before when we first got engaged that we would not have argument. And so we lived up to that. Over the past 5 years, I've realized there's 3 concepts that I've developed for myself. And I pass this on to my students. And this has helped our marriage immensely, especially at this part of life, where you live more on love and not on a whole lot of other exciting things. The first concept is every question does not deserve an answer. Every time somebody has a question, you don't have to answer. You can just not answer. The second one is every statement does not require a response. You don't have to respond every time somebody says something, does something. When I say statement, it could be physical or mental, whatever. You don't have to respond to that. And the third concept is just shut up. Learn how to just shut up. You just have to learn how to shut up.
Sir.
Now, within that third concept lies something a little more subtle. Every thought does not have to be shared. In fact, it should not be. Every thought should not be shared. So a lot of times in the process of thinking, you feel you have to express it. And instead, sometimes you just need to shut up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Makes sense.
That actually makes me think of a thing that you tell us is like when you have something to say, you have to first think, is it kind and is it necessary? Is there a third one?
Is it true?
Is it kind, is it true, and is it necessary? And if it's not at least 2 of those things, you don't need to say it.
Nice. Yes, sir. Okay. So last big question. You have lived through quite a bit of history. World War II, the Korean conflict, Vietnam conflict, the assassinations of the Kennedys, Dr. King, Malcolm X, Jim Crow segregation, the passage of the Civil Rights Act, the beginning of the Jet Age, the Space Age, and now the Information Age. Winston Churchill said, "Those that fail to learn from history are doomed to repeat it." Are you currently observing in the present day anything from the past that you believe we are in danger of repeating?
Yes. World War II, Nazism, fascism. We have a president and his followers who have confused themselves into believing that being an American patriot is actually to overthrow the government that they swear that they support. And it's ridiculous. An idea is a concept that once believed, it's not like something you can put on and take off. It's not like something you join that you can quit. What the Trump people have done to themselves is accepted thoroughly a fascist idea and want to impose that upon the American culture. And by doing so, they're actually destroying the very thing that they swear up and down that they support.
So you already mentioned that we can control what we think and feel and do. We can't really control the actions of others. So what advice would you have to give to us, to people, everyday people who don't want to see that happen? What can we do just as normal citizens?
We live in a democracy. It has safeguards in the Constitution. just make sure you contact your congressman, your senator, and everybody else. Get out and vote and support what exists.
Yes, sir. Well, that is the end of the formal questions. I do want to give you a chance to put in a shameless plug. If you want to say the best way that people can find you and what your when your classes are and what type of classes you teach, this would be a great time to talk about those things.
SenseiWingChun.org. Go to that website, and everything that I have talked about will be presented there. And then after you go to the website, you can click if you'd like to go further and have a free class. We offer free classes. We're here Monday through Thursday from 6 to 9. And so we offer free classes. You can go to the website, click, send an email, automatically come from the website to me. Or if you just want to call 513-827-5557.
Yes, sir. And just to repeat that website, that's www.cinciwingchun.org.